Hello everyone, I'm Peter Towers, the Managing Director of ESS BIZTOOLS and ESS Small Business, and I'm joined today with Geoff Goodrich from um, BIZTOOLS NT and a few other hats that Geoff wears, the Ambassador for Territory Proud in Darwin. How are you today, Geoff?
Very well, thanks, Peter. It's a beautiful sunny morning here.
And I think what I can understand watching your Chief Minister on TV this morning, NT's had a pretty good weekend.
They have. Everyone got out there and enjoyed themselves, myself included, and it was good to have time with friends and discuss things. And I think has raised the morale of the Northern Territory, and in particular. But also, it's a chance now. There's a lot more opportunity for business people to get together and talk to each other and help each other through what's still going to be a very, very difficult time.
Yes, Geoff, but I think it might have helped the morale around Australia also to see one part of Australia trying to get back into business, having hotels open, and I assume all the distance rules were abided by for most of the time, anyhow.
Well, actually, they did it. What I think was a really good job, because in actual fact, you could have tables of 10 with no social distancing because you were meeting with your friends.
Oh, okay.
So the social distance was between the tables. So they're up to tables of 10. And that was a sensible suggestion, given that we've had no person-to-person transfer in the Northern Territory at all. And everyone has been brought in, coming back from overseas. These are people who have had it. So I think it was a good decision, showed common sense together with the rules. And the reports are that people followed it very well.
Yeah.
And that's great.
That's very good. Now, this is only the start, of course. This is getting some businesses back into action. We've had some reports floating around the media in the last couple of days looking at JobKeeper, but as far as we know, JobKeeper is a commitment from the government to go through until the end of September. But business operators who are watching this video in the Northern Territory and other places, my appeal to them would be, Jeffrey, that they shouldn't rely on JobKeeper. JobKeeper is a support program, but they need to be thinking about their business activities now, what they're going to do, not wait until the end of September. There's no indication from the government that anything's going to be extended beyond 30th of September. And they need to be doing things now, like talking to their accountants and other advisors.
I agree entirely, Peter. It's designed to stop people shutting down, and it has done that. And there are gaps in it, and we all know that. But I think overall, it's an opportunity. It's a window to have a good look at your business, do everything you can about your business to make it sustainable in the long term, reducing costs, getting the right advice, getting the right marketing in place. And there's lots of people out there and lots of support from all other organisations to help businesses do that. What business owners need to do right now is, even though they're very busy working in their business, they've got to put some time aside to work on their business and make sure come September they have a sustainable business ongoing. And because we can still expect a downturn in the economy. We were on the bottom before this all happened, Peter. That's the big issue.
Yeah.
We've had 18 months of tough times, and people operating at break even or losses. So we've really got to look at that and see how we can sustain it as the Northern Territory economy.
Yeah. So in this remaining period, and time's starting to move away, we're only a couple of weeks from June, and so 30 September will come round pretty quick. One of my fears is that post 30 September, I don't think small or medium-sized enterprises are going to get the welcome mat at banks. I suspect the banks are not going to have much money left to lend to small business after the 30th of September. You've only got to read what they're talking about, how much they're provisioning for bad debts at present in their interim reports that have been coming out over the last couple of weeks. So if any one of the businesses that you're involved with in the Northern Territory or businesses anywhere else are thinking or have done some budgets and cash flows and They know they're going to need some money at some stage because they've got some activities on. I think they should be talking to the banks now and trying to take advantage of the coronavirus SME guarantee loan, which is being supplied by the Reserve Bank primarily. They lent the money at 0.25% to the banks to then lend on. There's no security requirements, although I understand banks are asking for personal guarantees, which is probably fair enough. But the Commonwealth is guaranteeing half those loans. But my fear is that most definitely those loans won't be available after 30 September because that's the condition from the Reserve Bank. And banks won't be showing much interest in lending money. And the other thing that's going to dry up is grants. The governments around Australia, I think, have allocated 3 years' supply of grant money in the last few months. And so businesses shouldn't be relying on banks or grants to have big sums of money for them available after the 30th of September. So if people need money in their forward planning, I think they should be thinking now and talking to their accountants about potential capital raising, because there's still plenty of money out there in the system. Superannuation funds have got a lot of money. So it's all part of pre-planning now.
I agree, Peter. As you know, one of my passions is energy efficiency, and we've got a lot of money available at very good rates for energy efficiency. So, and it's all effectively self-funding because the energy efficiency saves more than the cost of the repayments in the initial period. And of course, once the repayments have stopped, then there's some significant savings. And there's also grant money for the next 12 months in the Territory for energy efficiency. It's already set in place.
Okay.
So, I agree with you entirely. And now is the time to ask for that money, just even if you don't think you're might not need it, is get your application in for that funding through the banks. But it's also a time after that we look at other ways of funding, as we've been looking at for the last 12 months, Peter, with, like I said, the energy efficiency funding and the alternative funding for good ideas that we've talked about previously, which you might like to lead on to have a mention again.
Yes, okay. And one of the key things when you're talking about energy efficiency and those sort of investments, to take advantage of the instant asset write-off, which is 100% tax deduction for assets costing up to $150,000. That asset must be purchased and installed ready for use prior to the 30th of June 2020. I wouldn't be relying on rumours that the government might extend that program. At this stage, it's all got to be ordered and installed by the 30th of June this year to get that tax write-off for businesses. Yeah, the other opportunities are built around raising capital as Section 708. Companies can raise up to $2 million from 20 investors in a 12-month period, or crowdsource funding equity raising, where up to $5 million can be raised in 12 months. And another very interesting one for anyone that out there who has developed a new product, process, or service. In other words, invented something new. There's a special category of investment company called the Early Stage Innovation Company that can supply any amount of money. There's no upper limit, but the company has to be young, and the real benefit is for the investors, because the investors can get a tax rebate based on the amount of their investment, and they also potentially can be the beneficiary of not having to pay capital gains tax when they sell those shares. So there's some great opportunities there to look at getting investments. But people who might be thinking along those lines, you really need to talk to your accountant or a business advisor, because you're going to need a business plan, budgets, cash flow forecasts. And obviously, Jeffrey, for some reasons, their accountants are too busy or don't want to do that work, they can talk to you, and through our contacts, we can find other consultants who can assist them.
That's right, Peter. And there is a lot more help around generally, and there's people who we've got one in the Territory, a CFO part-time facilities available and giving advice. There's also some really good advice, and it is subsidised by the government for businesses wanting to use digital marketing to help their business and that sort of stuff. And there's a significant saving organisation called Treaty, which is set up by under the government, and for $40 you can have a half-hour interview, or I think it might even be an hour interview, and get professional help, and the government subsidise that significantly, much more than the $40 you put in yourself.
Yeah.
So you can get real good value for them. So it's looking around, getting the best advice, getting the best value for money for everything. Just good business practice. Just good business practice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully that gives the businesses in the NT in particular and others around Australia might happen to watch this video some understanding of what they can do in business. The general approach is the same. Wherever you are, you do need to get professional advice, and please don't wait until the 30th of September to start thinking about what you're going to do post 30th of September. You really should be thinking today and getting started this week in your plans.
That's right, Peter. And the good news is last week, as my role in Territory Proud as founder and ambassador, I'm actually calling on all Territory Proud members to say good day and drop off some branding kits. And I visited 30 businesses last week, and they're all still there. They're all still positive about their opportunity to continue to be there. They're all doing it hard. There's some issues with the grants scheme for domestic support, the stimulus grant. There was 20,000 applications, closed a month ago, and there's still only been 800 approved, which is causing a lot of problems. But generally, the businesses I called on are surviving, and they're looking at how they can do things smarter. So I reckon our territory businesses are pretty smart anyway. So I think reaching out and getting that extra help, and yes, through Territory Proud, BIZTOOLS, NT and the ESS BIZTOOLS offer we have on the plate. We've got a lot of information to help people, and we're keen to do it. Thanks, Peter.
Okay, thanks, Geoff, and good luck, and we'll talk to you again next month. Okay.
Thank you, Peter.
Bye-bye.